Welcome to the first episode of my honorary hardcore world. I start off by making some trees. I'm using spruce logs and oak leaves, made a trunk, and then I placed a box of leaves around it and just kind of broke it out until it made a tree. And then I went onto this tree, which I made a very tall tree. Added some fences at the top to add a bit more air into it. Then I put some strips of leaves down, and then I just popped in some random leaves in between the strips just to make it look nice, I think. And then I added in some oak logs instead of the spruce because I liked it better. And then I added in another tree, kind of like the first tree I made, but out of oak. Basically the same, maybe a little bit of a different size possibly. Then same thing. Then I made another tree out of oak, and it had a fence at the top, and it was just a little tree. I think it worked out alright. Then I added a little falling tree, like a fallen tree, like that somebody cut down. I'm not sure about the leaves. I couldn't really get it any better. I think it's fine. Then I added some bushes, and then I didn't like that bush, so I just cut it down. I added in basically strips of bushes. Then I dug into the ground and placed leaf blocks like it had fallen leaves from the trees. And then I went in and placed those flowers that I found there. And I think it worked out pretty well. And then I added in some spruce, and I put a campfire and stripped it. Overall, I think this worked out pretty well. The trees are a good entrance to my hunting town. And yeah, it filled an empty space. Also, that log cabin in the background is the next build. Now I'm going to be working on a cabin by the side of the road leading up to my hunting village. I was thinking of what I should do, like what I should build. I couldn't really think of anything, so I just walked along my road and found a little place where needed something. It was a little bit boring, so I thought a cabin would be nice. I started building it diagonally because I like the look of diagonal builds, and it's a fun little challenge. It's about a 9x5, I believe, using a mix between dark oak and stone. I used for the stone part a gradient of stone, then cobble, then andesite, because I think gradients work pretty good for these kind of houses. I used gray stained glass because I like the look of that, and I had some. I used dark oak for the roof and the supports, which I love dark oak. It's probably my favorite wood in the game. It's not as easy to get as spruce, but still pretty easy. The roof is just a slab roof, and it goes up by one each time, but end up rounding it off eventually at the top. It's a little bit hard to get the ends of the roof on a diagonal house, in my opinion. And this is a really 45-degree diagonal house. It's not just it's not like a slighted diagonal like you might have seen if you watched the world tour in my hunting village, which that I believe is harder. This is a little easier than that, but I actually don't really build these a lot though. It turned out pretty good, I think. Anyways, I rounded out at the top of this dark oak roof in a second. I'm just adding some more dark oak. I really fiddled with the end because I wanted them to look good. Then I do the front bit, and now I round it out. There's not much to say about a roof. It's just a roof, really. I end up adding a bit of extra detail later on, which I'll talk about, but for now, I build up some more slabs, and then I make a little, awning, which maybe he, sits under there, or looks out his window to it or something. I messed up the first time. I didn't really like the look, so I ended up tearing it down. It just was a little too low, and it didn't connect to the slabs, so I don't know. The other version, it's not as much of a slope, but I think it works out better with the scale of the build. So it's just some dark oak slabs and some fences going up as a support. Then I add in some grass and bone meal, because I think that adds a bit of interest to make it seem like the roof is kind of got growing and stuff that's been there for a while and hasn't been the best well kept and stuff. Now, a lot of people might do a dark oak trim and then just do all grass for the roof, but that's kind of a different thing. If you ever see that, it's more like they're trying to make it the roof have insulated grass and stuff, which is a cool style too. It's very interesting. Then I fix the end a lot. The end is kind of hard. I go to sleep. I wake up, I start building out a little barrier for the garden I'm gonna make. I decided on potatoes just because I like potatoes. I grabbed my hoe out of my under chest, that's why the under chest is there. I placed down some barrels and some lanterns, just some extra details. I think that looks pretty cool. Planted my potatoes, and this is it. It's ended up pretty good. I like the gradient, I like the roof, like the farm. The farm isn't fully grown yet, but it will be fully grown eventually. And yeah, there's not much more to say about it. So, yeah. Now I'm going to work on the interior for the right-hand room of the palace. My other room has my storage system, my ender chest, so I thought this room would be a good room to have my super smelter, my enchantment table, stuff like that, like cartography, you know. Start off by digging out the floor, placing in some torches 1 block down, because if you place a slab over top of this, it still lets light through in Bedrock Edition. I don't believe it does in Java Edition. Then I break all the torches because I'm going to place down some brown concrete, and after I place down the brown concrete, or powder, I turn it into brown concrete, and it would have just broken all the torches if I didn't break all of them because of the water. Then I place in some temporary blocks of cut sandstone, and add in my spruce trapdoors, which has a similar color to the brown concrete, but it still adds some extra texture variation, which I really like. And I didn't place any over top of any of the holes because I didn't want to open it up someday and then just fall in and have to break some blocks to get out. Now I start placing my oak slabs, which I use oak slabs because obviously it's cheaper than using full blocks of oak planks, but it still basically does the same thing. And also, like we talked about, it lets the light through. So I'm placing oak slabs because later in the build I use a lot of jungle, which contrasts very well together, I believe. Then I add in some more texture variation of the same palette, the just simple palette of the oak slab, brown concrete, and spruce trapdoors. I think this floor adds different styles to the build, which is nice if you ask me. And it's a little simple, but I don't know, I like it. Now we're going to be working on the windows, where I placed the sandstone underneath because it's got the same top as smooth sandstone, and it just saves me from smelting it. I'm going to be doing like a jungle slab, like we said about the contrasting, on this side of the windows, and then I build up around the windows, and it ended up being wrong. I had to check the other room. You'll see I check the other room in a second. Like right here, yeah, and it's wrong, so I fixed it a little bit with some slabs. Now this window, it's a very simple design. I like it. It works for the interior. It works for the size of the room, and yeah, it's like the window's 3 layers thick, just so I get the indent in the wall for the window on both sides, which is kind of interesting. And yeah. Now I'm going to work on this pillar, like the support beam. I look over at the other one because I get it wrong a couple times. Build it up. It's got smooth sandstone stairs sticking out, and it's a mixture of cut sandstone and smooth sandstone. Like every other block is smooth sandstone, same for cut sandstone. Then I add some more stairs in. Then I start working on the door frame, which I get wrong a couple of times, so I check the other room a lot to make sure I can get it, and then I keep checking it. I get it in the end. It's got some stairs. It's a very tall door frame, which I like. Then I get this part wrong. I do it differently on both sides, funny enough. But I'm just, I check it and get it right. So I check it, break those, build up with another one of those pillars with the cut sandstone, smooth sandstone, going onward. Place in some more stairs for support. Then I start working on this archway, which is basically just a stair, then a block on top of it, then a stair going out of the block, which I think it really separates the room, which is good for interiors. Do another one over there, some more supports, get back to this window, building it up. It's just the same as the other windows. I do mess up there, which I have to replace it with the slab. And every once in a while you might see me lighting up this build, just because, like, in the places I'm not, just in case you know, I don't want the mob cap to fill up or something like that, I don't know. Or I don't want to not be able to sleep too. Lots of reasons why you don't want mobs in your builds. Then, I'm taking lots of looks at the other buildings, I keep getting this wrong. I end up breaking that entire pillar, and replacing it with just some blocks and then a stair coming out. And that's mostly so that I can do some like tables and chairs underneath. Then this window I get wrong because it's kind of blocked by the super smelter, so I have to actually create a whole new design. You can see that's one of the other players that plays on this world is sleeping, so I have to sleep. Then, yeah, so I end up breaking it, add 2 stairs like that, blocks over top. I think that works pretty well. Then I add in some oak trapdoors, which I think adds a bit more detail, which obviously the super smelter is kind of out of place there, but I don't know. Like, I think the trapdoors make it work into the build. Then I just section that area off, which I might eventually add a bubble elevator to like a 2nd floor or something. They're placing more sandstone up just so that I can pop the roof on, and then start adding texture variation of normal sandstone with the smooth sandstone. And that's because I ran out of smooth sandstone, but also because I do like the texture variation, how it looks. So I'm placing that in. And then after that, I start working on the roof, which for the roof, I actually use jungle slabs, and I don't use slabs for anything like light or anything. It's just because I wanted to save blocks. And also I use jungle for the contrast to the oak. I just use that a lot in this build, I think. The red jungle like goes well with the oak in this kind of build. Makes it look like maybe it's a bit rougher or something, I don't know. The roof is pretty straightforward, I just kind of fill in this area. I end up placing some sandstone there after the fact. But yeah, it's some pretty odd shapes for the roof because of all the support pillars, but I mean, that's fine. I really don't care about that, obviously. And then I start working on the detail bits. I place down some tables, some lanterns, some chairs. This is all the stairs. And also, I end up changing the oak stairs and slabs to jungle, so then it shows a bit more, like, because the oak, it just kind of blends in with the floor if you just use the oak. I do that after the fact, though, so it's not on camera. Then I add in my important bits, like my enchantment table. I will add my anvil to the other side of that, as well as my grindstones already in. I just didn't have an anvil, not because I don't have iron, you know. But anyways, this is the finished product. I think it worked out pretty well. This is the first episode of my Honorary Hardcore World series. See ya!